how I got into this space was I kept having a lot of my clients come and say they went through an experience in a ketamine clinic where they were just thrown in a room. Nobody prepared them for what to expect. They'd never done a psychedelic before. And so I was like, this is supposed to be helping people. It's causing more damage. So what am I supposed to do about it?
Right.
And so for us, our focus is really on preparing people, educating people on what the medicine is, what it's doing to them, why it's beneficial, what to expect.
So you're giving them you're giving them the forward before they get into the book.
Yep. So they can be a full body yes, that they know that this is going to help them.
Right.
And then, we talk to them about what they could expect through the experience, and then we sit with them. So we sit with them the entire time they're in the experience, and then afterwards we do some integrating on what the experience itself is. Because I'm not a therapist, but I am an integration specialist. So I help them understand their experience and why it was beneficial for their mental health.
Welcome to the Utah Business Spotlight. I am your host, Peter Anthony. Man, like, subscribe, share. Make sure that you are helping Utah businesses grow. Now, I am an equal opportunity person. I love everything. I love everybody, but this is going to be trippy. And I don't mean that to say it in a way that it's going to be trippy, but today is going to be trippy. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am with my friends, Shandell and Nathan, and these guys are doing some cool things. You're going to learn about it. But first, you got to say hello. You got to like, you got to subscribe. Please say hello, guys.
Hi.
It is nice to see you.
Hi.
Man, you got a great smile. You're just
Doesn't he?
buzzing through the camera. I already hate you because everybody's going to want to see you. And then they clearly will love to see her. And that means I am the third wheel. How did that happen? I don't know. But so first and foremost, tell us, where can people find you? Because once they hear your story, they're going to want to.
Yeah, so we are mobile. We go to people's homes, and we will go anywhere through the Salt Lake Valley. We go up to Park City. We go out to Tooele.
Cool. So what I meant to say is, where can they find you online so that they can learn more about you?
We're Connections Ketamine and Healing. Our website is connectionsketamine.com.
Connectionsketamine.com, baby. And what is ketamine?
So ketamine is a medication, a drug.
Oh, right on.
That's been around since the 1960s.
We love drugs.
Yeah.
I've been around since the 60s,
Yeah.
so clearly I'm one of those. I'm the product of hippies.
Sure. And it's mainly an anesthetic. Like at higher doses, it'll knock people out.
And you know this because you're actually...
I'm a doctor. I'm an emergency medicine doctor.
I love that, man.
Spent 20 years in the emergency room using ketamine to knock people out for sedation.
Oh, right on, man.
But then it was noticed about 20 years ago, it was noticed that people would report that they would feel really good after getting ketamine. It would improve their mental health. And so that kind of spurred all sorts of studies that have happened since then, which we can get into if you want to. But the short answer is that it's been proven to make people feel better.
Which I love, right? Because there was a heart drug that was proven to make people feel better too, but not in the heart. Right? It came out, and that's how we found and discovered Viagra.
Yeah.
You didn't know where I was going, but
I wasn't sure where you were going.
It was a good little weave,
Yeah,
right? Because some of the greatest things come out of these things that we learn about, and then we utilize for one thing, and then we realize that it really has benefits in other places. So I think that's the journey of ketamine. I think it's interesting, but Shandell, I really love your position on how this relationship came about, and how you decided with Nathan to do something that's really more important than the drug itself, is how it's taken care of and the environments. Tell us about what you guys do that's so different.
Yeah. So how I got into this space was I kept having a lot of my clients come and say they went through an experience in a ketamine clinic where they were just thrown in a room. Nobody prepared them for what to expect. They'd never done a psychedelic before. And so I was like, this is supposed to be helping people. It's causing more damage. So what am I supposed to do about it?
Right.
And so for us, our focus is really on preparing people, educating people on what the medicine is, what it's doing to them, why it's beneficial, what to expect.
So you're giving them you're giving them the forward before they get into the book.
Yep. So
Love
they,
that.
they can be a full body yes, that they know that this is going to help them.
Right.
And then, we talk to them about what they could expect through the experience. And then we sit with them. So we sit with them the entire time they're in the experience. And then afterwards, we do some integrating on what the experience itself is. Because I'm not a therapist, but I am an integration specialist. So I help them understand their experience and why it was beneficial for their mental health.
Right on.
Yeah.
Man.
Because it is a pretty intense, like psychedelic experience. People typically get full visuals. They feel like they become immersed into the visuals, leave their body behind. Their consciousness goes and travels the ether. If you're not prepared for that and you don't have somebody with you to support you, to guide you, to make you feel safe, to make you know that you have somebody, I mean, that's what Shandell does. If you don't have that, you can have really scary, anxiety-provoking.
And that's with anything, really.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared for something, I mean, we own a marketing agency today. We owned spas and salons in the past. But, even with marketing, if you can get overwhelmed, you can get in over your head, and all of a sudden you're having a psychedelic experience, but it wasn't the kind you expected, right? Because what's happening is you're overthinking, and then you're projecting, and then you're taking those projections and you're tying them in with your beliefs and your constraints. And then all of a sudden, it's a bad experience. And the reason that we discuss mindset marketing is the same thing, is because you have to be prepared to actually market yourselves. And so many people aren't prepared, and that's why they're not successful. And I think what you guys are doing is you're pre-preparing them to have a better, stronger, successful relationship with themselves, and then move that relationship through other components of their lives so they can live fully. Would that be something that would be interesting to say?
Absolutely. And the part about the ketamine that people miss in these other experiences is the work that has to be done after. So it's like you say, that them being prepared so that they know how to move forward. A lot of these people go into the experience, but then go back to their life exactly how they were living it before. And they're just cementing in the old bad habits because they don't know that there's the window of time. Well,
here's the interesting part about that. When we were doing events for decades, I've done events for decades, and I've been trained in neurolinguistic programming, right? So what happens at an event, you send somebody back into their old habits, and then what they do is they create a news story that says this didn't work.
Right.
And it's not that this didn't work, it's that you didn't do the work. And if you don't do the work, how do you get the results? And some of the work is more caustic to the human than we might imagine.
Right.
Changing your environment is caustic, right? The three hardest wounds for a person to overcome: the loss of a loved one, loss of a job, and loss of a home, moving, right? Those are the three most traumatic things that a human being can experience. And when we put them in these new environments, we're going to say, hey, man, you have to adjust this environment, which in some cases seems like a loss. And I love the process that you take people through. So you're saying, hey, we're going to prepare you for this so that you're prepared to do the work. Mm-hmm. Because in any work, any spiritual work, for me, it's Christianity, but for you guys, it's, you're doing the same type of work where it's a release, and you're saying, hey, man, you're going to have to find a new group. You're going to have to find a way to support yourself through this journey. So what gave you the idea to move the journey from the space, right, from an office or a clinic environment into the home? I love that idea, and it's very entrepreneurial, and this is, about being entrepreneurs. So, give me some dirt, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's your story that really kind of put us in that space.
So my story is working in the emergency room 20 years, realized I was burned out. I was probably depressed. Like my mental health was struggling. And so I ended up being a patient that got ketamine myself. This is about 3 years ago. And it helped
Were
me.
you swiping the good stuff?
No,
I'm just lighting it up.
No, that's actually funny that you said that, because I went to one of these traditional ketamine clinics where you show up, they put you in a room, and it had a comfortable chair, but it was still very much like an office, doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me the medication, they left me in there alone, and I had the worst experience. I dropped into this medication against my will. I wasn't prepared for it. I went into this full psychedelic experience, and there was a tree that grew in front of me, and the trunk twisted around, and there was a demon face on it. And then somebody in my experience was like yelling and moaning. And then I kind of came back to myself, and I was like, that's me yelling, like moaning in this clinic all by myself. And I hated it.
And then at the end,
they came in. I'm like sitting there with my sweating with my face in my hands. And they were like, did you call your Uber yet? And I was like, I'm working on it, geez. And I hated it. And then I went home.
Nathan, I'm sorry.
And I felt really good the next day. And I felt really good the next day. And I felt really good. And I was like, oh, shoot, I think it's helping me.
Now, did you help him walk through?
This was before we knew each other.
Oh, okay.
And so when he decided to go and do this, transition his career, then he was like, I know I don't want to own a clinic. I want to go to people's homes so that they don't have to go through what I went through. They don't have to get a ride somewhere hoping they're not going to throw up in the back of a car.
That part's really trippy that even people think that, you can just go walk the streets now.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, honestly, like he just, you said, I saw a tree and it had a face, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's my brother's mother-in-law, right? It's like, it's like scaring people, right? She's very scary.
Yeah. So he said, he's like, I want to be able to do it so people can relax and be comfortable in their space after they get it and take the time to recover and be in their own space of safety.
I love that.
Yeah. And so when we met at the psychedelic conference just over 2 years ago, and he introduced himself and said that that's what he does in home. And I was like, I want to talk to you, because he was the first doctor that emphasized the importance of the setting in which people do it in.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had worked for another doctor, and they tried their best to create a good environment, but it was still 45 minutes, you're out.
Yeah.
We're done.
I mean, and because it's traditionally in the last 50 years how we've learned to sell. Like when we had our salons and med spas, like it was efficient. Every 15 minutes I'd have a new client. Every 15 minutes I made money, but I had an ecosystem around me to move them to another part. So they weren't gone in 15 minutes, but they were moved somewhere else and then moved somewhere else. And, we noticed that when we were doing spa work, whether different kinds of release therapies, but through the body, right? And some shamanistic types of, chakra movement, it would happen in the room as well. But your body and your mind is ill prepared for a release, because it's like, whoa, it's so your immediate desire is to run back to where you were, because you knew what that felt like. So we actually turned all of the ceilings in our spas, we made them look like the evening. So when you opened your eyes, because when you're doing work like that, you have the electrostatic electricity in your eye, you open your eye and then you see, oh, it's a drop ceiling. Oh, lovely. Right? In most offices, right?
Yeah.
Our drop ceilings look like celestial stars and planets and the low beam. It was really neat. We had the best med spas in the world. They were super cool. But to that point, you're thinking about it and you're like, yeah, man, and everything I think is interesting, and again, I've never experienced ketamine. I don't know about it from that position, but I will say this, when we started our med spas, we talked about different alternatives. And I think one of my other guests, I was talking about it, but, we were one of the first med spas in the Northeast to start to use Botox, right? And, you talk to somebody 35 years ago and you say, man, I want to stick, 40, 50, 60 needles in your face and take botulism and just put it in there so you look better. Like that's a hard sell initially because it's so far away from what botulism did. Now there's things, where we're taking snake venom to do the same thing. And it's like, and people are so comfortable with it because they're comfortable with the results, because the results are now understood. And I think what you guys are doing is you're at the tip of the spear, where people are now learning about the results and how the results can have a positive impact in their life. It's interesting, man.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me your best success story.
Gosh, we have so many.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
That's cool.
We really do. I think the most rewarding thing is the fact that we have people calling us at their darkest, lowest moments and just begging for relief. And then after a few sessions, we walk in and they're just like, "Oh, we're so happy to see you." And they're just smiling. And going from, this might be my last day here on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Please. We were able to just go right there to their last session and going, my family is happy to be around me. I love going to work now. My job changed, and everybody's like, "Look at the smile on your face." He's like, "I walk down the street and I'm smiling and I'm waving at people." And he's like, everything in my life has changed. And I am so happy.
That's cool, right?
And it's so rewarding for us.
The reason I like your process as I was speaking to you is the preparation process. As you're preparing to clear the way to your new compelling future that's always been there, but it's been shrouded in this self-made and environmental fog, let's just call it. And now that you're giving them a process to clear that fog so that they can see a compelling future. And whenever the future is compelling, it's like, "Oh my God, I met a new person. She's so hot." You're smiling all the time, right?
Right.
It's like, this is the coolest. And then it's like, "Oh my God, we've been together 7 years and I can't stand the way she chews her food. And now she lives with me and we have joint bank accounts and we share one cell phone." And what happens is there's all this fog around your future. So you become less and less attached to it. And that's when people make those decisions that you were saying, is like, this might be my last day. It's not because it's the last day. It's just because I can no longer endure or see the future that includes me and where I have value and can participate. So I love that you're doing those for people.
Well, and the process in the preparation is I'm asking them questions. And so their future that they're talking about is the one that is created from their own words. I'm not telling them what their life should be like.
No.
I'm not saying, "Oh, you probably want this." It is literally through the questions and through their pain and their hurt that I help pull out the little pieces of like, "What about this?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh." And they just cry because that feels so true to them.
Yeah.
And that's what they start going forward in.
So cool.
Yeah.
And just the nature of psychedelics, it's, people will say, everybody's journey is their own, and it's different for everybody. And it's not for somebody else to tell you how you're supposed to feel or how you're supposed to do it. You have to figure that out. And that's what Shandelle is so good at, is just being like that little catalyst to make you figure out what you need.
I love that, man.
We're not telling you what to do.
No, and there's no need. For me, I have no need for psychedelics because I live with 3 teenagers, and clearly my mind is everywhere. You guys are driving me crazy if you're watching. But in seriousness though, you find the moments in your life, and everybody has those moments. And so I love what you're doing. But there's got to be some times that it's a little crazy. Are you ever exposed to something that's crazy, and how do you get out of it, Nathan?
Yeah. So we talk about the reason that a doctor has to give the medication is because there are some risks of complications, right? Like over sedation, if you stop breathing well, if you threw up and aspirated, right? So there are some physical risks, but there's psychological risks as well, right? So if somebody has a bad trip, if they get stuck in their experience, like the classic, think you can fly, so you're going to jump out the window, kind of psychiatric
So
emergencies.
we do everything on the ground floor. Right?
And it doesn't, that is super rare.
Yeah, no, I get it. But what I'm talking about specifically is not the juxtaposition between what's good and bad, but more when you're entering an environment, do you ever think like, hey man, this guy is, or this chick is like, they passed the first part of the test, but now I'm in their house and there's some crazy stuff going on. Like I'll tell you a story, man. I found these really cool people and I thought they were super cool. Man, I got into their house and she was really nice on the outside, but I got in the house and it was filled with poisonous snakes. And she's like, yeah, I let them out once in a while. And I'm like, I'm out of here, man. Like, I am not interested in hanging with the rattlers and the cobras. And then the little ones that look like coral snakes, but are like the ones who got, the Egyptians would bite you with. Like, not happening on my watch. And there are some people that are a little bananas. And I met them being, one of the top stylists in the world. People would always want to do like, hey, Peter, can you come to my house? Okay, yeah, but it's $2,000. This was in the 90s. Like if you want me to go to your home and do a home session, it was $2,000. And I just picked the number arbitrarily. And very often people would pay it. And I was like, what? Who would pay that? But and I get to the house and I'm like, this is not what I was prepared for. And I'm like, oh, I came here to apologize. I'm not going to be able to stay. That's the kind of stuff that we want to hear about. Yeah. Nathan, hook me up with a good story.
We haven't had anybody like really off the wall. Honestly, we talked, there's a lot of talking before we get there. And so I feel like people get vetted pretty well.
That's a testament to Shandell, who's walking them through that process, that you're getting the best people who are clearly understanding the direction that you're willing to take them and the way you've positioned your company. So well done, man. So again, where can people find you?
So we're Connections Ketamine and Healing, and our website is connectionsketamine.com.
Okay, cool. Connectionsketamine.com. Man, Utah, if you are out there and you want a really cool, safe experience where you can get to where you need to go, but you know that you're surrounded with people who are going to make sure that that journey turns out the way it's supposed to, Shandell and Nathan, they're the people to get on the phone with. We trust them here at the Utah Business Spotlight. I hope you do too. Guys, thank you so much for being on.
So
we
much.
talked for a long time.
Thanks.
Like, share, subscribe, and be safe on the journey. We love you.